What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. Wow, we got some breaking news right now. Your man's Dillian Whyte has pulled out of the Otto Wallin fight due to take place in 2 weeks' time. On the merit of a shoulder injury, Eddie Earnhardt and Dillian Whyte posted the following message 8 hours ago now. After an MRI scan on his shoulder today and consultation with the specialist, unfortunately, Dillian Whyte is not fit to fight on October 30th. It's next week, actually. The show will proceed without Dillian, and we look forward to seeing him back in the ring shortly. Now, you man who follow my content know that I've done been saying this Otto Wallin fight don't make no sense. Why doesn't it make sense? It don't make sense for boxing fans. Don't no one want to watch this fight? Let's be honest here. I don't know what they was thinking. Well, tell you a lie. The only reason Dillian Whyte booked this fight was because, if you remember correctly, the WBC hadn't mandated Dillian versus the Fury versus Wilder winner. So Dillian's whole base case was that, oh well, we're not sure if this fucker is going to carry on with the WBC. And Dillian was quoted as saying that I can't put my life on hold for another year waiting for a fight, so I'm going to stay active, stay busy. And in the meantime, hopefully, the mandated thing works itself out. 2-2s. In fact, I remember saying this as well. 2-2s, WBC comes out after Dillian's booked in and then says, oh yeah, Dillian Whyte versus the winner. At which point, again, I remember saying, it almost felt like the WBC, they could have announced Dillian versus the winner months ago. It's almost like they were waiting for Dillian to book a fight and then have their fingers crossed that he loses. I don't know. Either way, I never liked this fight. It's too hard. Dillian's too suspect in my opinion. And ultimately, they know it. Now, I'm not saying Dillian knows he's too suspect. I'm saying, rightfully so by the way, this is actually good management. In my last few days, I've exposed and called out bad management. AJ's team are bad managers. His career has been managed poorly, in my opinion, in certain aspects. Dillian Whyte, on this occasion, and his management team, this is a good call. Yeah? Pull out of the Otto Wallin fight. And if you look carefully at the information that's going around, and in fact, I'm going to read you some more exclusive leaked information in a sec. But if you actually look around and read some of the information, you'll know that, guess what? They haven't rescheduled it. This isn't one of them ones where he's pulled out and, oh, well, we got, you know what I mean? When Fury pulled out, it was rescheduled within a few days. Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn haven't mentioned nothing about rescheduling. In fact, normally, if a fighter pulls out and they have intentions of fighting, they automatically say, yep, I'm injured, but we're going to reschedule. Team Dillian Whyte haven't mentioned nothing about rescheduling, and that's because they have no intentions of rescheduling. Not even a little bit. And in my opinion, rightfully so. Because, like I was saying, this doesn't make sense financially. It doesn't make sense from a risk point of view. And it doesn't make sense from a fan point of view. It makes no sense nowhere. No fans want to see this fight. We all want to see Dillian Whyte versus Fury. So why not give the fans, give the sport, give Dillian everything that we want. This really is one of the few occasions where there's no losers. Well, tell a lie, there's one loser, Otto Wallin. But to be honest, guess what, Otto Wallin? You should be fighting Joe Joyce right now. Otto Wallin versus Joe Joyce. You beat Joe Joyce, and you know what's coming next. I'm going to be saying, my man Wallin needs a shot. Another shot. But to be fair to Otto Wallin, he had his Fury shot. What's he been doing since? I don't know what he's been doing. He was going to walk into another pretty big payday with Dillian. Well, unfortunately, you got to earn these things. Most people don't never get to fight Fury and Dillian. Two big names like that, back to back, haven't done nothing. You got your break against Fury. He did well. Now it's time to put some graft in. Go and fight Joe Joyce. Go and fight one of them kind of cats. So I haven't got no sympathy for Otto Wallin. Yeah, it's a bit annoying to get cucked 10 days out. But really, I think what should happen here is Dillian Whyte should pay Otto Wallin some kind of hush money. That'd be the fair thing to do. Is it fair? The fact that Otto Wallin's trained and he's got expenses? No. So I'd say Wallin, show me your expenses. I'd pay him his expenses and then a fee on top, 100 grand on top to smooth things over. That's what should happen now. Should Otto Wallin be completely punked and ignored? No, because what's going to happen is, from what I'm reading here, Team Wallin are likely, this may end up in court from Wallin's point of view. The fact that they had a contract, and if you pull out on injury, normally contracts stipulate, if you pull out on injury, you've got to reschedule, obviously, for obvious reasons. Otherwise, you're financially out of pocket. And that's why to be fair, Team Dillian Whyte, Team Eddie Hearn, they're normally they're not tight like that. They're not Fish Eyes Warren, who's going to try and bump you. They normally don't have a problem putting their hand in their pocket. And it makes sense for them to do that right now. Because in a minute, I'm going to read out to you, man, that Team Wallin, they're not going out without a fuss. So the best thing Team Dillian Whyte need to do now is reach out to Team Wallin and try and smooth things over ASAP. Do you want to pay 100, 200 grand? No, you don't. But guess what? What you don't want to do, because the way Team Wallin are talking, they're going to try and leverage the WBC on their behalf. Because bear in mind, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm not sure. Was the Wallin fight mandated? That's the question. Was it? From what I understand, wasn't it the winner of Wallin versus Whyte to be mandated as the challenge or the championship challenger? Because I don't remember them coming out and saying, "Oh, it's straight up Dillian." It was, the winner of Wallin versus Whyte. And if that is the case, you don't want to be going through that kind of stuff now. Now, to be fair, there's no telling that even if Dillian offers 200 grand, they still may say no. And we know what the WBC are like. If they get a sniffing that they can put Dillian Whyte off, and this, for me, to be fair to the WBC and Otto Wallin, this would be a pretty good way, wouldn't it? Well, sorry, Dillian, you signed a contract. If you're injured, you can rest up and go again. So if Dillian's not careful, he may get pushed back even further. The fact that he may have to wait 4 months from now to reschedule or whatever, and then have to fight him anyway. So it's all a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. It's all a big mess. I'm hoping, although I'm not very confident, I'm hoping that the right thing happens. And the right thing is, yes, it's not ideal, but the point is, no one cares about the Otto Wallin fight. And in fact, that's another, going back to this pullout, never mind, because my base case is, there's nothing wrong with Dillian Whyte's arm. If I was to bet, there is absolutely nothing wrong with Dillian Whyte's arm. Why is he pulled out? He's pulled out because he don't want to risk the Otto Wallin fight and knowing that he's got the Fury one. However, to be fair to Dillian, maybe he is injured. Why do I think that? Well, it's been 10 days now since the Fury versus Wilder fight. So, why would he have left it so close, where it's a lot more kind of controversial if you pull out? Who knows? Maybe he was waiting for the Fury and Wilder fight to die down, because obviously if Dillian Whyte pulled out immediately after, it would be more obvious that that he was pulling out because of. It'd be more obvious that he's pulling out because of that. I don't know. Who knows? All I'm saying is that one of the other reasons, apart from the fact that I believe he's pulling out because he wants the Fury fight, is because Wallin versus Whyte has sold no tickets. Now, remember the Fury and Wilder situation? Allegedly, there was a pullout because of no ticket sales. I've seen some information. I think Hatman posted it. Not going to lie, where I saw it, Hatman posted some information up. Allegedly, Whyte and Wallin sold no tickets. And guess what? If I was to sit here and tell you that I find it hard to believe, I'll be a liar. I was the one telling you, man. There's no way. No one wants to see this fight. And I feel like, I've said it before, I'm somewhat of a casual fan. Well, in fact, I am. I don't watch random fights. I didn't even watch Fowler versus Beefy Smith. Didn't watch it. Why? 'Cause I don't care about random boxing. Yeah? And some people would consider that to be pretty big boxing. Well, me, I'm a casual. Call it what you want. I watch the big ones. I watch the interesting ones. And the reason I bring it up is to say that because I'm a casual fan, I'm able to know what people want to watch. Because if it ain't big, I ain't watching it. And I'm someone who's involved in boxing 24/7. So if I ain't gonna watch it, it's a big fat L, yeah. And I'm telling you now, and I promise you, Whyte versus Wallin, I probably wasn't gonna watch. Maybe at Telly. If I was up and around, I'd have watched it. But it's really that borderline for me. I wouldn't have been sitting there like, for example, normally a week before a big fight's on, I'm working out where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be doing. This would have been a random one. Oh, let's put it on. Nothing else to do. I would not have been working things out around this fight. And that shows, imagine who wants to watch that fight? Who wants to watch it? Where's the storyline there? Makes no sense. This for me is almost like Dillian Whyte versus Rivas. Who wanted to watch that? Wow. No one. So, I'm sorry, Team Wallin. This is for the best. What you need to do is, you need to you deserve step aside, but that's all you deserve. Let's not try and make out that you've worked, YB, he's worked his way into this position. No, you went. You got blessed an opportunity, and unfortunately, don't no one want to see it. So, it's one of them ones for you. Now, before I go, I want to read you the specifics of the actual case here, because like I mentioned a few seconds ago, this Dillian Whyte thing, it's not as straightforward. This Otto Wallin thing isn't as straightforward as some people may be assuming, in terms of the pullout, in terms of the lack of rescheduling, in terms of Dillian Whyte sliding out of the Wallin fight and moving into the Fury fight. So this is what Team Wallin have said. Team Wallin have, they basically said the following. It's very disappointing. If it's an injury, then he should heal and they should reschedule this event. That would be the fair thing to do. It would not be fair to the sport of boxing for Dillian Whyte to have an injury, whatever it is, and as a result of that, to be able to be mandated to fight Fury. Otto is ready to go to the UK today. He had a complete training camp, and this fight guarantees a lot of attention, and it is truly the right eliminator for the Fury fight. For the fight with Fury. The fight has to be rescheduled for a later date, and the winner of that fight should fight Tyson Fury. Anything else would be unfair to the sport of boxing and unfair to Otto Wallin. We're definitely going to petition the WBC to make a decision. That's what should be decided. The winner of Whyte Wallin fights Tyson Fury. The WBC will pass what I feel is an important decision which should set things right. And there you go. Now you can probably tell, now you should be able to tell what I was mentioning earlier in the video. You've got Team Wallin talking about, Whyte versus Wallin was man, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure how the timeline went, because if my memory serves me correctly, I remember when the WBC released that statement saying the Fury and Wilder winner have 30 days to work out if they can fight Usyk, and if not, that person, so Fury, would have to fight the winner of Wallin and Dillian Whyte. It wasn't Dillian Whyte out and out. Now, where the question is, was Whyte and Wallin mandated as an eliminator? Because an eliminator is where it's kind of like, the winner of that fight. That's what, if it's a final eliminator, that's different to if it's not. And there's some contradiction here. Team Wallin, they're making out that Whyte and Wallin were mandated. Team Dillian, from weeks ago, said that this was just a, what do they call it? This is just a, Dillian Whyte saying that the fight was just a, what would you call it? A random one. He picked Otto Wallin out of a bag. Which, when you look at the rankings, he was picked out of a bag. He ain't number 1. He ain't number 2. In fact, I'm not even sure he's in top 10. So it just depends at this point, ultimately. Bear in mind, Team Wallin are petitioning. it comes down to whatever the WBC rule. And like I said, that there is a vulnerable and precarious place for Dillian Whyte to find himself in again. Hence why, ideally, pick the phone up to Team Wallin and get in the pockets. Write off 100, 200 grand, assuming he'll take that. Or at least offer, that's the thing, at least offer. You've got nothing to lose. Offer 200 grand, tell him to be quiet. If he says no, then you ain't lost nothing, have you? If he says yes, yeah, you're down 200 grand, but you're free and clear to go on to the Fury fight for millions. Although, we have to bear in mind that Team Dillian Whyte have, or Eddie Hearn, although, listen, in fact, no, let me say what I'm saying. Team Eddie Hearn, Team Dillian Whyte have mentioned that Dillian Whyte's legal team have been pressuring or in communication with WBC. So maybe Team Dillian Whyte, given that their legal team is pressuring the WBC, maybe they're confident that, listen, we're going to pull out of this fight, and the WBC, we've got our foot on their necks, and they're going to fall in line for us. They're going to finally be doing us a favour after all these years. Maybe that's why Dillian Whyte's feeling confident. However, as I've always said, Team Eddie Hearn, Team Dillian Whyte, they're always ranting and raving about how their legal team are doing this, their legal team are doing that. Trust me, people, in the next 2 weeks, yeah, or when we find out the result of this WBC petition from Team Wallin, we're surely going to find out what Dillian Whyte's legal team have been doing, haven't we? Because bottom line is, if the WBC rules against Dillian, that'll prove Dillian Whyte's legal team have been doing a sweet naffle. Because really, no fans want us. No, like I said, Otto Wallin isn't in the top 10, or certainly isn't in top 5. So, if a man isn't in top 5, he's got no right to be. And that's another thing. Dillian Whyte, on the revised rankings, he's not number 1. Dillian Whyte is the interim WBC World Champion. So, how can a random dude, Otto Wallin, not even in top 5, have a claim over the interim champion? It just don't sit right with me. Not at all. I wouldn't even mind so much, genuinely. For example, I think Joe Joyce is number 3. If this was not Otto Wallin and instead it was Joe Joyce, or instead some decent fight, people wouldn't mind so much. But the fact there's no commerciality for this fight. I mean, Team Wallin kept saying in their statement that, it's not right for the sport, it's not right for the fans. Bro, I speak for the sport, and no one wants to see this fight. Unfortunately, go away, go and fight Joe Joyce, go and fight someone else with a name, beat them convincingly, and then we can talk about the sport. Because so far, yes, you had a good scrap with Fury, but you didn't finish the job. And that's on you. Yeah, Fury's cut was there to be had. And I remember watching that fight. You weren't really going for it. You could have put your elbows in, tuck your chin down, and gone for it. You didn't go for it. You was happy to lose, and you know what I mean, one of them ones. So you ain't showed that much. You've had one half decent fight, which you lost. That's it. Now, yeah, on hindsight, we can argue that Dillian Whyte's team were a bit naive or a bit sloppy accepting this fight. But like Dillian said initially, we didn't know that we were going to get this big shot against Fury. If Team Dillian Whyte had known, obviously, they wouldn't have taken it, this fight with Wallin. Although, ultimately, maybe we're all barking at the wrong tree. Maybe Dillian Whyte genuinely is injured. But then again, if that's the case, then he should be rescheduling, no? But then again, maybe Dillian Whyte is genuinely injured, but is using the chance or is using the opportunity conveniently to say, well, yeah, I am actually injured, but you know what? Let's use this opportunity to go and do the fight the fans want. Because one thing we do know is, this isn't a case of, well, Dillian's not fighting Otto Wallin to go and fight someone else. Some random dude. No, he's not fighting Otto Wallin to give the fans a fight we want and have wanted for a while. Whyte versus Tyson Fury is not only a decent fight in terms of the sport, but the whole build-up and whatnot. On the back of Wilder versus Fury 3, this is what we need. We need to start getting some consistency and momentum back in the sport, where we're going from one decent fight to another decent fight. And this is that. Waiting around for a year to watch Whyte versus Wallin ain't what the sport needs.